Fostering has an impact on every part of your life. You sometimes don't see your friends. You don't have that social aspect because we didn't believe in respite. I had some really bad experiences as a child going into these homes, and I didn't want my kids to go into a stranger's home.
I have 2 good foster parent friends, and you really only need one. And we created long ago like a Facebook Messenger group chat, and we communicate mainly through that. Often daily and multiple times a day that messages are going up on it from one of us. That's how we stay connected with what's going on. It's also how we seek support when things are really hard.
So it touches on every part of your life. A relationship, you need to have that communication with your partner. You need to balance each other out. You need to figure out what that is. And paying attention to the relationship stressors and being able to communicate that.
Well, and the longer that you foster children, the more parallels you see in your life with other foster parents. Like initially, you really do feel like this is all happening to you. This can only be your experience, right? But then the longer you do it, the more you realize that your experience parallels so many other people's experiences.
I'm Carly. I am a Dene woman. I am also a kinship mother. Our little man Isaiah came to us 7 years ago. We got a call on a Friday asking if we would be able to take him for 3 months. My husband and I thought about it over the weekend, called on a Monday, and Wednesday he was here. 3 months turned into 7 years. There have been struggles, there have been ups and downs, rewards, there have been celebrations, there have been a whole gamut of emotions. And one of the things that I found most startling at the very beginning is that we didn't have a name for him. We just knew he was a family member. And so we were given a photo of him to pick him up at an office, rang the doorbell, and picked up this little boy we had never met before. Within Child and Family Services, there are many different levels that you will be meeting with and learning about. There's CSD, there is kinship if you're with the kinship stream. There is your worker, there are supervisors, there's managers, but know that there will be changes. Communication, sometimes you will be heard and sometimes you won't. Within the Child and Family Services, they are the ultimate deciders of anything that happens because you are the caregiver and they are the guardian. So communication can be tough, and everybody wants to have their opinion to be recognized. Everybody wants their opinion to count. People don't understand the responsibility it is to be the caregiver within kinship, the boundaries you have to set, what you say, who are the people that you can rely on within your family, and that can be difficult.
I'm Katerina Coots. I'm a social worker. I have variety experience working in domestic violence, sexual abuse, and I work alongside foster parents. I think a reason why a lot of caregivers might feel lonely or isolated is because it is an isolating job to do. Not many people will understand why you want to become a foster parent. Sometimes it's hard to communicate with people who don't understand where you're coming from. They feel like they might be judged, or they might be put down, or how people in their family, their friends might think of them for taking a child that's not their own.
Foster caregiving starts with loss. Starts with loss before the child comes. And what might that look like for you? Loss of time. Loss of time with your partner, your other children, your extended family, your friends, whatever social activities, whatever way your world was unfolding before that child. And then there's this place also of how others react to comment on your choice, judgment. Most often, caregivers can be trapped inside themselves, inside their experience with the child. The greatest fear is the fear of judgment. And when that comes into play, silence is your greatest enemy. That silence can absolutely result in your own injury, your emotional injury, your physical injury, your spiritual injury. But we also fear that there's guilt, there's shame. Shame and guilt silence people. It can take their souls. It can take their peace. And anything that does that takes away from the whole premise of saying, I will take a child in and care for them.
The way a person can ask for help is always by being able to be vulnerable, which takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage. It makes you be more self-aware of yourself and what your needs are.
So a caregiver having a conversation with someone they trust and feel safe with, an actual physical neurobiological response is we breathe again. In the face of fear, we hold our breath. When we hold our breath, our brain goes into hyperdrive. It is searching for food. It's searching for oxygen. When they cannot find that food, we become speeded up. So when you have that conversation of your truth and reality, you are allowing breath to enter, you're giving yourself room, and you're slowing every part of your body to try to come into a place of understanding.
Communication comes along with advocacy. So you advocate for the best interest of the child in your care. You advocate for yourself. You advocate for the health and the wellness of your immediate family. I've grown over the years to listen to suggestions rather than taking it personally. You know, my voice is not always going to be the right voice, and being humble within your family is something that you'll have to learn to do. Working with Child and Family Services, the communication, is factual. This is what, this is when the doctor's appointment is. This is when the dentist appointment is. This is how he's sleeping. This is the prescriptions they have requested. These are all factual things. You're not in a relationship with a worker as a friend or as family. But what you do know is what you can do to communicate, keeping it to the point, trying my best to keep emotions out of it. Documentation, that has been my friend. Taking notes, always having a notebook for every meeting that I attend, and having follow-up emails so I have clarity.
Using your voice has two fields. One is to advocate for yourself in that foster caregiving role. The second is advocating for the child. What might that be? Additional support in schools, additional supports medically, additional supports psychologically, counseling, additional supports socializing, having an aide or a support person identified to assist that child in the community. Your voice for advocacy, number one, if there's no you, you're not available to the child. So that advocacy for yourself and what you need, write down questions that you're not sure about. Pick your top 3. Talk about them in yourself and identify that in the beginning of the conversation. This is why I'm here. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm not understanding. And this is how I'd like to, spend our time together. And see if that can aid you to get where you're trying to go on behalf of the child in order for you to do the best with yourself, with your resources.
Being able to advocate how you feel about the situation or how you feel that what that child may or may not need. creates you to have a deeper bond with that child and even with yourself, and understanding what you need as a person and also what that child needs. Because sometimes this child doesn't have a voice and you have to be that voice for that child.
The reality is, you make the choice to become a foster caregiver, to give a child an opportunity for the best they can be, the best version of themselves they can be, while they're with you. Not everyone ever agrees with your choices, and they may not agree with that particular choice for you to become a foster caregiver. You decide where and how and what and if and who is in your life, and that it's safe for them to be a part of your life in that decision.
I think that communication really is a gift that you're giving yourself. I definitely have grown as a parent. You will learn within your family who will be there that will encourage you. Be honest with you and tell you sometimes things you don't want to have to listen to. You can get into that loop where you just keep repeating the same situation over and over again, and that doesn't help anyone, and it definitely doesn't help you as a caregiver. Communication would be one of the top 5 foundations for any successful home. The people that gain the most is the child that you're caring for, yourself, and your immediate family.